Hi there, grade 12 learners. We are now in video number 2 of our prelim prep for the DBE learners for 2025. We're looking at the 2023 and 2024 paper. This is now section B. This will be the longest video because this is the largest section. It covers around 75 marks of your paper. Okay, so let's dive in. In section B, what do we find? We've got system technologies that deals with everything from users to hardware. There you can see some of the examples. Then we've got internet and network technologies. We've got information management. So obviously this internet and network technologies has got to do with the internet and networks. All of the questions around that. Information management. A large part of this has got to do with the PAT and then also some practical work. And then social implications of technology, right? And that usually leads us then to question 8, which is really all based off prac work. So we see that in 2023. Let's just have a look at 2024. Do we see the same thing? Now, the sections are exactly the same. So there we've got that. We've got internet networks, information management, social implications, and solution development. Okay, so that's what's entailed in section B. Let's run through these questions, and again, I'll follow the same route I did yesterday. Here we've got describe a SOHO user, a small office, home office user, and give an example. So it's 1 mark for describing this, which are users that use, sort of like entry-level computers for basic things like invoicing and sending out bills and documents and that type of stuff. That could be an estate agent, architect, it could be, legal services, anything that can be run from home. Then utility programs, the minute you see that, what are we talking about? Programs that are built into the operating system. Like what? Like our disk cleanup, our disk scanning. But now they're saying here, utility programs that perform routine tasks. Okay, so think about that. Now they say, list 2 common tasks that are carried out by various utility programs. Well, things like file management. What did I just mention earlier? Disk scanning. Antivirus software, compression, file recovery, file renaming. This is what these utility programs do. Okay. Then they talk about backups, discuss 2 ways in which data on a computer could get lost. So things can be deleted, files can become corrupt, data can be accidentally deleted, you can have a hard drive failure. So how do we back that up, right? And you can suggest any one of those ways. Now, I do have another video coming out where I look at these terms, what is meant by discuss, suggest, explain, things like that. So please go and check that out when it comes up. Then they talk about mobile users. Can you see this is linking up here? The SOHO user, the mobile user. Remember, we had the power user as well. So what is meant by always on, always connected? That means that you are always contactable 24/7. There's no relaxation. I mean, it leads to health problems. There's a lack of privacy, all of that. Give 1 reason why note-taking software will be an advantage for a traffic officer. Okay, why? Because these notes are recorded. It prevents data loss. If you're doing it that way, you've always got the notes on hand. It's not like I didn't take notes. Then I see they talk a little bit about Siri, your virtual assistant. Okay, then they ask questions based on that. Can you see scenario, questions based on the scenario? Scenario, question based on that. Okay, so there you can see virtual assistant, voice assistant, things like that. Explain there again why it may be important to compress files. In other words, why would you do that? You compress something, you make it smaller because it's too big. You compress it because it's taking up too much space on your hard drive. So yeah, there's 2 reasons already. Disk defragmentation, this is one that comes up all the time, so please know this. Remember, it's a utility. So it's utility software that recognizes parts of the files and makes your computer faster, but does not make extra space available. Please remember that with the defragmentation. It speeds up the PC because it's bringing all those fragments of the parts together, but it doesn't free up space. Okay? Please just remember that. Your computer occasionally displays the following message: Windows Virtual Memory minimum too low. Then they ask us, define the concept of virtual memory. Now, I'm going to give you from the memo what they would like, and you can then word it accordingly. So they mentioned to us here the unused disk space of a hard drive, which allows the operating system to operate as if it had access to more RAM. So instead of the PC accessing that extra RAM, it's actually taking a portion of the hard drive space and using that to run even more programs. That's what virtual memory is. Then they want 2 examples of when the operating system will make use of virtual memory. Well, if it allows for more programs to open at once, then an example would be when there are too many programs open and your RAM is full, now it can access that virtual memory. Maybe a program is too large to run from the available RAM that you have because you don't have enough. And as we said, when the memory is full. Right, then we have a drone. They want to know what type of technology. They want to know the limitations of that as well. We know this is drone technology. We know it works off a battery. We know you've got a specific distance in terms of communication. That one as well. Then virtual reality. Did we see that come up in the IEB papers? Yes, it's here in DBE as well. What is virtual reality? Give 3 possible limitations of the use of virtual reality. Now, it is a newish technology, not that new. It can cause motion sickness because you actually believe that you are there. There are limitations in terms of movement, hardware, resolution, all of these type of things. Okay, so I hope you can see now what sort of questions are going to come up in system technologies. We can have VR, we can have AR, we can have drone technology, we can have hardware, software, all of those things. Have a look at this one. The principal is established an ICT committee to buy new computers for the school's new ICT center. Why should you buy wireless devices for the new center? So do you see that? Wired versus wireless. Okay, we know our wireless is going to enable freedom of movement and easy connectivity. 2 troubleshooting steps that you can take to try and get a wireless or Bluetooth keyboard that has suddenly stopped to work again. Well, the first thing you're going to do is check the batteries. Then you could try and reboot the computer. You could even try another keyboard to see if it's, the keyboard, the dongle, or the PC itself. The new center should be equipped with printers and a scanner. You see? This can come up as well, printers and scanners. What are our 3 printers? Inkjet, laser, and 3D printers. And a lot comes from 3D printers. Okay? This is the new thing that they are pushing into the papers. So remember a type of printer that will be suitable for high volumes of printing. That is our, recommend. That is our laser printer. 3D printers have become popular. Describe the function. Now, please, I don't want you to get this wrong. This is how you get your 2 marks. You need to use this wording. 3D printers create 3-dimensional solid objects from a digital model of an item. How do they do this? It prints through filament. That's instead of ink or toner, it uses filament. And it prints layer by layer. Or you can say it prints successive layers of material on top of another. But they want that layer by layer, or one layer on top of another. Okay? Please, if you don't use the right word, you're not going to get both marks. Then, 2 advantages of buying a scanner to use in the new center. I mean, your scanners, folks. I'm not going to go through everything there. We know old documents can be scanned. Large documents can now be turned into digital files. For a computer to function properly, it needs an operating system as well as an application software. Most operating systems need to be updated from time to time. State 2 advantages of such updates. They're not worried about the operating system. They're actually asking you about updating. What are the advantages of keeping your software up to date? Well, why do we update? Because there could be security issues that need to be fixed. There could be errors that need to be fixed. There could be new additions to the software that they need to implement through an update, right? New functions could solve old problems, anything like that. Then discuss 2 software-related problems that could reduce the processing speed of a computer. Now, they're saying software-related problems. Now, you could have too many programs open at the same time. You could also have a virus. You could also have a defective program. So any of those would do. The committee must consider ways in which physically challenged, please, just take it easier. Physically challenged learners, not disabled learners, physically challenged learners, okay? They'll specify if it's anything further. Can access the computer centers. Name one hardware device. What is hardware? Physical things that we can touch and see. To assist the visually impaired or blind learners. Now, I don't like this wording, because visually impaired does not mean blind. Folks, I wear, as you know, I've got spectacles, I've got glasses that help me. I'm visually impaired, but I'm not blind. So I'm glad that they put in brackets here. They're actually talking about being blind. So this individual is blind. Can you give a hardware device to assist a learner who is blind? A braille keyboard. You can use braille printers as well. My problem here is this. I don't like this wording, because if you tell me you're going to use a magnification device, like to make everything on the screen larger, if you are blind, how are you going to see that? You ain't going to see nothing. Okay? So, just be careful of that. Just be careful of that. Work with what's in the bracket. Explain how a speech recognition program may be used to assist learners who are physically challenged. Well, speech recognition, they can speak and verbally give the instructions to the PC. Explain the difference between a site license and a Creative Commons license. License. Now, your site license. This allows a company or a school, and we can use a school, but it pertains to any place. A company or a school, they can then install software on an unlimited number of machines, unlimited number of times. But the license only encompasses that particular company or that building or that particular location. So if you have a massive school, they can have, let's say, Office, and it can be installed on all the PCs. A Creative Commons license is different, because this is a copyright agreement that actually allows any person to use or share content under certain conditions from the owner of the copyright. So I'm going to say it again. Creative Commons license is a copyright agreement that allows any person to use and share the content under certain conditions from the owner of the copyright. So they tell you, you can share the image as long as you have the Creative Commons logo in the bottom right-hand corner. Or you can share this, but you need to acknowledge the source. Okay? So that's what that's all about. All right, let's finish question 4 off before we go over to question 5. The committee wishes to buy a digital camera. So do you see that comes up as well? The correct unit to measure the resolution of images. That's our megapixels. Give an example of a DPI is used as a specification, and that's for printers, monitors, scanners as well. What effect does low resolution have on a digital image? Well, it's going to be pixelated. It's not going to be clear or sharp. It also means a small storage size. Okay. The principal has an older computer at home. He opened the disk properties and the window appeared below. So the used space, there he's used 29 gigs and he's got 268 gigs free. This is how we used to look at things back in the day. Do a disk cleanup, things like that. All right. So for the next 3, 5, 6 marks, what does the window above show you about the state of the hard drive? We just said, hard drive is fine. Hard drive, it has a lot of free space. Okay? It's not full at all. How would the amount of storage space available be affected if the principal performed a disk defragmentation? What did we say earlier? The disk defragmentation is going to look through this used space, is going to see if there's any other fragments of those files, put it together. It will speed up the PC but not give you more free space. Other than the disk cleanup utility and performing a disk defragmentation, give 3 tips to the principal in order for him to keep his computer in good running order. Now, you can use things like run the scan disk. You can run a regular antivirus checkup. You can make backups. You can delete unnecessary files. Run an update on your drivers and software. Any of those. Right. So that brings us to question 5. Let's go back to 2023. Now, question 5, as we said, is going to be on the internet and network technologies. So there you can see, what is e-commerce? What is e-commerce all about? It's for 2 marks. So let's just get this right. It's a general term for any type of business that's taking place over the internet, right? That's going to give you 1 mark. For the second mark, you can also add, it refers to the buying and selling of goods or services, and also to the type of marketing that we're going to be doing, but the fact that it's all done online or over the internet. Then 2 recommendations in which you can ensure better privacy on social media. I mean, you can go through that. 2 reasons why a user would rather opt for a fiber connection as opposed to ADSL. Well, number 1, fiber's faster. Number 2, fiber's more reliable. Advantages of online shopping, guys, you can go through that. Really, you know what the advantages are. You can shop at any time. It can be delivered to your home, things like that. Yeah, there's just a lot out there. Name 2 measures used by banks to protect their clients when they do banking online. Well, you could say they use a separate PIN, like your 2-factor authentication. You've got a PIN per session. You get SMS notifications, all of that. Then why is it not recommended to use VoIP for emergency calls, voice over IP? What does that mean? That means your voice is going over the internet. Why don't you use it for an emergency call? Because you might not have data. Okay? It might be like a WhatsApp call. You don't have signal. You might have less bandwidth, any of those. And it all revolves around data. So if that's gone, then yeah, it's over. Briefly explain what information overload is. I think we had this in the previous paper as well. So information overload, it's just what happens when people cannot handle the amount of information they are exposed to on a daily basis. Do you see this? Every time, explain, provide, explain. I hope you're taking note of that. Explain the difference between a router and a modem. So please just understand, because you can have like 3 different answers. I'm going to give you the 3 different answers from the memo. So the first one is you need a modem to connect to the internet, while a router distributes the internet access to your devices. Or you could say the difference between a modem and a router is that a modem connects you to the internet and a router connects devices to Wi-Fi. Thirdly, you could also say a router creates a network between computers in the home, while a modem connects a specific computer to the internet. Okay. Do you see when they talk about explain, you've got to tell me what this is in comparison to that, right? That's just a tip. Give the file format type typically used to save a podcast. Podcast would be generally audio only, so that could be a MP3. Let's see what they did in 2024. So did you see it's like only 15 marks? Yeah, again, 2024, 15 marks. So guys, get to grips with how they structured it, the mark allocations, what they're looking. Look here again. Explain, discuss, explain. Okay, just say. The community center will provide facilities for people to play LAN games. What are LAN games? Local area network games. So it's like you and your friends playing Call of Duty in the computer labs and you're all connected over the network so that you can play together. Sorry, I didn't even see this question. I'm already explaining it. Okay, so if you wonder for 1 mark, it's really just playing computer games on a network. Like, that's it. Then they ask us, well, what's the difference then between that and online gaming versus LAN gaming, right? What is the difference between that? So I'm not saying you have to draw up a table or anything like that, but online gaming involves playing against people around the world. LAN gaming is just within the same physical location or within the same network. You could also tell me that, okay, well, online gaming, I need to have a connection to the internet. Whereas LAN gaming, I don't, because you are using the network. Okay, so that's the difference between those. The people who use the community center have asked the committee to provide internet access. Name the type of software they would need to read pages from the internet. Pages from the internet. How do you read anything that's on the internet? You read it via a web browser. Discuss 3 issues to consider when deciding on the ISP. Well, you need to look at the cost, the cap, whether it's shaped, unshaped, the bandwidth speed. Does it, control standard viruses? Does it do web hosting? All of that. Other than cost, state 2 advantages of a broadband connection. Well, high speed, faster downloads, a permanent connection. You can watch video and listen to audio over the internet. Now, do you see where they're going with this? I was just going to mention live streaming now, and I see it's here. What is live streaming? What is meant by live streaming? This is where you are watching a video, or you are watching live music or anything live as it's happening on the internet. What's the purpose of a digital certificate that is found on some websites? So there's another term for you to know, your digital certificate. It really indicates that the website is legitimate. That's one mark. That's as simple as you can get it. Then when you use the internet, the web server stores small files known as cookies on the computer. Give 2 reasons why e-commerce and other web applications use cookies. They use that to identify users. And then they also use it to store and record your user preferences. Ever seen that when you go onto websites? The principal visited a website and a pop-up window appeared telling him that he had won a new iPad. And I hope he didn't click on anything. Explain how he could stop this from happening again. So he could use a filtering program like a pop-up blocker. He could check maybe his antivirus has that feature in it as well, and maybe he just didn't activate that. Then the last one for question 5, give the term used to outline the rules and restrict the ways in which the community center may be used. And what can we use for that? That is known as the acceptable usage policy. All right, brilliant. We're getting there. 2023, let's go. Question 6. So question 6 now is on information management, and I'll probably breeze through this. Here we can see electronic forms, a conclusion in a formal report. Did we see this come up in the PATs, people? Yes, we did. Okay. 2 reasons why the information in the paragraph is not reliable. Evaluating sources. You can see I don't even have to go through this. This is really from the PAT, plagiarism, etc. In 2024, what did they do? Same story. Okay, slightly different. Okay, there we go. 2 criteria when evaluating information in a website. You did this in your PAT. 2 general features of a spreadsheet program making it suitable for data analysis. Let me just run through this quickly because I know we'd have some IB learners that would be looking at this, and for some of you doing a PAT in grade 10, 11 is nothing, it's normal, whereas for the IB I think it's only grade 12. So the first thing is a URL shortener. What does it do? It simply converts that long URL into a shorter version. It doesn't mess with the content. It just shortens the actual link. Why would it benefit? Because it's just easier to share, right? It's easier to distribute. What criteria do you use when evaluating information on a website? You want to check if it's accurate, if it's accessible, if it's objective. What does it cover? Those type of things. 2 general features of a spreadsheet program that make it suitable for data analysis. You want to have graphs, you want to have a range of functions, you want to have sorting, you want to have filtering, all those things. Explain why it's really necessary to add a bibliography. Moving on. Explain the difference between a citation and a caption. You should know this. Our citation is referencing information of a source. Okay, that's when we add a citation. A caption is just a numbered label that you apply to objects like pictures, images, anything like that. So, yeah. Okay, so that was a difference that we saw. No real difference between question 6 in 2023 and 2024. So for another 10 marks, I think in 2023 as well. Let me see. Yes, also 10 marks. We're looking at the social implications. Define the concept of user-centered design. Now, this is a method of computer program design that is based on the user-specific needs. So the program is designed according to the user's needs or requirements. That's all it is. Right? Suggest a software accessibility option that will help a person suffering from tremors. So you could use slow mouse speed, you could use filter keys, you could use sticky keys, you could use voice recognition software, anything like that. DDoS attacks are becoming more widespread each year. What does this mean? That's a denial of service attack. Because now they're asking you to describe the role of a bot in a DDoS attack. So these attacks use thousands of infiltrated computers to overwhelm a server with a mass of requests. That's really it. It's just because every time you go to a website, you actually go into a server, you're making a request to check a particular website. So these bots will take over certain PCs and send through thousands and thousands of requests, and then the server can't handle it. And it just discuss how a DDoS attack can be used by a hacktivist group like Anonymous. These guys are awesome. Anyway, sorry. Anonymous to wage cyber warfare against enemies such as during the Ukraine-Russia war. What can they do? Well, they can take over a country's services, like shut down their communications, their infrastructure, their transportation system, anything that is accessible via some sort of network or the internet. Okay. An e-learning application was developed to help train new employees to use the equipment in a laboratory. And there we can see that. What's the name of the technology used in this e-learning application? I mean, this is augmented reality. There's the reality. There's the augmentation that's added to this. Explain why this technology will be more useful compared to watching a video of the same equipment. Well, it fits the environment to what you are actually seeing at that particular time. Okay. Then to finish off question 7, give 2 examples of the use of artificial intelligence in our everyday lives. They say do not just list the names of the application. So you want to say, well, artificial intelligence in our life every day. We have voice assistants like Siri. We have applications that can help you shop online. There's financial institutions that identify which transactions are fraudulent. You've got self-driven cars. Yeah, you've got inventory management software that can be used by AI as well. We even make use of AI with ChatGPT and these things. So it can help us to find information. It can help us to process information. We've got a lot of things that you can put there. All right, let's have a look at question 7 in 2024. So in 2024, they spoke about, there's one term there, big data. Big data is very large structured and unstructured data sets that are analyzed using computers to reveal trends and patterns, especially relating to human behavior and interaction. Discuss 2 skills required by people who wish to follow a career in big data analysis. So you'll have to actually have analytical skills. You need to have a bit of creativity, the ability to create new methods to gather data, to interpret data. These are for like computer science people. Maths core is going to be a big thing around here as well. And you need to have business skills, because what are you going to do with this data? If you're going to use that data to understand what drives the growth of a business as well as profit, then beautiful. Briefly explain the term crowdfunding. So we've had this in a previous paper. It's simply the process where a single idea, just use the word idea, single idea or business idea, whatever it is funded by multiple small donations. You see, the crowd. If each one gives $10, $5, 10 Rand, 20 Rand, whatever it is, those folks, the crowd is funding that particular project or initiative. Then explain the use or explain the purpose of the EULA. What is this? The End User License Agreement. Now, this is basically, when you install software and you click next, and I agree. That's the EULA. It's telling you how you may or may not use that piece of software. That's all. From the company side, what you may or may not do with it. Then briefly explain what geotagging is. Geotagging is just a process where a geographical position, that's why it's geotagging, where a photograph was taken. So you are adding the geographical location to that picture. It's added then to the metadata of that file. That's it. And then explain by means of an example how the Internet of Things can be used in a smart home. Now you can have multiple examples. I'll give you 2 here. The alarm clock and the kettle are both connected to an app over the internet. When the alarm goes off, the kettle is switched on. Here's another one. There's an app that manages the swimming pool, or the app that manages that is connected to a sensor in the pool as well as to other devices such as the pool pump. So the sensor communicates the need for chemicals. The app then switches on the pump. So those are just 2 examples of that. And then the last one, question 8, solution development. So in 2023, that was worth 15 marks. 2024, also 15. Okay, so let's do this, finish this off, and then we can go on to section C. Now, this was really, it's always just based on your prac work. So here you can see the automatic table of contents. I'm not going to go through all of this, but I mean, it's prac work. You need to go and practice this. Your automatic table of contents, knowing how to fix certain problems with styles, copying and pasting. Here they talk about your spreadsheets, 2 spreadsheet features, your database table, input masks. Can you see? Like all of that is prac work. So please, just know your prac work. 2024, same story. We've got a database. Name the field. State the most appropriate data type. Lists. Word processing program for personalized letters. Which feature of a spreadsheet would you use to copy a function down to cells without using the copy and paste method? Then what's the error over here? There's the VLOOKUP. And there you can see, guys, hyperlinks as well from HTML. So that really brings to an end section B. And I hope this helps you now as we move over to section C.